Heyo everybody, Haku here with a One Piece discussion on chapter sort of 1026 onward, just to let you know where we're at right now if you're watching this weeks or so into the future. So I'm going to be bringing up a bunch of just One Piece details and topics that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and I've been planning to do this video for a while. I'm going to review chapters 1020 through 1026, because I've been saying ever since the Robin fight, I was like, I want to do a discussion just to talk about a bunch of assorted One Piece stuff and to review those chapters, and then I didn't have time to do it and I actually finished all these notes last week, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to get the video posted before 1026 came out, so I was like, I'll just wait until after 1026 to do this. So yeah, added that one in there as well. I've got a few images for some of the topics I want to bring up too that I'm going to be throwing up on the screen as I'm talking about them, but I can't leave them up there for long because that's something that One Piece's publisher is super strict about. But I have tons of notes I'll probably be glancing down at because there's a lot to talk about. Yeah, so the first thing I wanted to bring up, I actually have a picture of here. It's something that I noticed randomly looking at stuff on the One Piece wiki and whatnot, but I think that Kuma's Bible cover could actually be a hint toward King and the Lunarians. I'm not sure what it means, but let me find this image and bring it up. Let me zoom in. So this is from the mangas, like, I think it's from one of the covers of, like, one of the volume covers. But this is the manga's coloration. In the anime, they turned it... Let me get my face up here still. They turned it purple in the anime, but still it remains. We see this person with the sun and flames, and the orange color makes me think of flames too, and with these angel-like wings, like what King has. And we know that the Lunarians were treated like gods or revered as gods. They're from the Red Line. We know the flame powers have something to do with it. Again, the wings are like that. So is this person a Lunarian maybe? The sun would make sense as they're like directly above Fishman Island. They're on the one big continent that we know of in the One Piece world. So yeah, I'm wondering if that could be a hint towards that, maybe. Of course, we know that even though this is a Bible, like, we can assume that it's not the same as, like, the real world Bible, because it's in the One Piece world. So, yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, something I caught that I haven't seen anybody talk about before, yeah, maybe Kuma's Bible cover was a hint toward the Lunarians. And if you want to bring that up to anybody who like has a bigger One Piece channel than me so that they can talk about it, go ahead and do that just to spread the word some more, because I know I don't have all that much reach or anything. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. The second thing I wanted to bring up, and I've thought about doing this as its own separate video, so I still might talk about this as its own separate video. A rundown of the arcs that I think are left in One Piece, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, well, after this, we're going to just get straight into Raftel in the endgame, and I'm like, I feel like we have been introduced to too many things for that to be the case. I think we still have at least 3 decent arcs before we get into Raftel and the endgame stuff. Now, these arcs don't have to be Wano length. We don't need like 100 plus chapter arcs. They can be like a good 30 to 50 chapters and still be very good arcs. There have been very good short arcs in the past. So I don't think all of them are going to be super crazy long, but I think we're definitely, in my opinion, getting an Elbaf arc, a Vegapunk arc, and a Hachinosu arc, and we may also get a Moon-related arc. Not too sure about that one. And we may also get a Lodestar arc. So Lodestar is the last official island that, like, the log poses will take you to in the Grand Line. Now, Inuarashi, I think it was, told Nami, you don't really need to go to Lodestar, you can just go to Wano, and then try to find the 4 road poneglyphs and find Raftel. But because it was mentioned, because it's really the last official island on the journey, I still think we could stop off there at like a Loguetown or a Jaya arc where it's only a couple chapters. I think even if it's just a couple chapters, we could still stop off at Lodestar. But for the 3 big ones to me, Elbaf we're definitely going to, because it's just been mentioned too many times. It's tied into too many other things, tied in with Usopp's dream and the Dory and Brogy stuff, so much stuff about the giants, tied into Big Mom's backstory, and I feel like Big Mom is making it off Onigashima, and that Luffy's got to be the one to take down Big Mom. Two big reasons I got for that. First, back in Fishman Island, Luffy told Big Mom, I'm gonna kick your ass all over the New World. I kind of feel like he's got to keep that promise. It's less spectacular if Law and Kid are the one to take her down. And also, going back, I just noticed this for the first time really, going back to Punk Hazard, when Luffy and Law first make their pirate alliance, Law says, if we do this, if we join together, make this pirate alliance, we can take down one of the emperors, Kaido. And Luffy says, okay, that's fine. I plan on taking down all 4 of the emperors, just as long as Shanks isn't the first. So because Luffy specifically said that, I think, maybe something else happens with Shanks, but I think just because Luffy said it, it doesn't have to be true, but I'm willing to believe that Luffy's going to attempt to take down all the 4 emperors. Now with Shanks, it's not the same as like, oh, you're a bad guy, so I have to take you down thing. It might more be like okay, I need to surpass you, like more of a respectful thing. But I do think he'll probably end up clashing with Shanks at some point. Again, just as I need to surpass this person if I want to be Pirate King kind of thing. So yeah, because of that, I think Elbaf's a good place for Big Mom to go down. We definitely have an Elbaf arc in the future. I think most people agree with that too. Another one I think is Vegapunk. Again, Vegapunk is tied into too much. The science team taking over for where the Shichibukai had been removed, connected with Frankie's technology, connected with Caesar Clown, who has to come back into the story at some point, connected with Judge and the Vinsmokes, who again we haven't seen, and they have to come back into the story at some point. So it would be nice to get some closure on those character arcs in a Vegapunk arc without because if you just throw them into the end game with everybody else, it just feels like there's not really room for some good closure on their arcs, whereas we could have that closure in a Vegapunk arc. And the same goes with Smoker and Tashigi. I think Smoker and Tashigi really need to get to some sort of point in their character arcs where they choose to side against the Navy, probably most likely, or follow their own justice. And we know that they're currently going, or at least the last time we saw them, they were currently going to Vegapunk's island. So again, I think that that's where Smoker and Tashigi come back. That's where Caesar comes back. That's where Sanji's family comes back. There's just too much reason for us to go to Vegapunk's island for us to not ever see it. It's just been mentioned too much. And another one is Hachinosu, which is or depending on what you read, Fullaled or Beehive Island. But again, it's one of those things where it was mentioned too much. We know that it is the home base of the Blackbeard Pirates. It was formerly the home base of the Rocks Pirates. So again, those connections are too much to me for us to not go there. Blackbeard is of course a big antagonist that we're definitely going to go up at some point eventually, up against at some point eventually. And also, every arc has served a purpose in One Piece, and then you look at Long Ring Longland and you're like, what was the point of Long Ring Longland other than introducing Aokiji, which we could have done without the Long Ring Longland arc? But in Long Ring Longland, they mentioned that Davy Jones and the Davy back fight come from the Pirate Island. Not a Pirate Island, the Pirate Island. When we're introduced to Hachinosu, it is the Pirate Island Hachinosu. So again, I think that's why we got Long Ring Longland, to introduce us to that concept all the way back pre-time skip. So again, having a Hachinosu arc makes Long Ring Longland make sense, especially if we're to get into theory time. I think that the Davy back fight against Foxy was to set up in the future. We're not it seems kind of weird, what situation would it be where it's just hey, we're coming to meet the Blackbeard Pirates and we're going to have 1v1 fights against all of them. I think it makes more sense for the Straw Hats to go to Hachinosu. Again, that might be where the Last Road Poneglyph is. It's connected with rocks and everything. So they go to Hachinosu, and we get a Davy back fight against the Blackbeard pirates, but not like a silly Davy back fight, a serious, like, you're going to get stuff taken from you if you lose kind of Davy back fight. Maybe that could be for the road poneglyphs, maybe it could be for crew members and Blackbeard's trying to take Luffy's friends away from him, because we know that Blackbeard has been doing that, trying to take important devil fruits, trying to take people like Moria into the fold. So again, it could make a lot of sense for that to be where it goes. So I think we could actually see a Davy backfight against the Blackbeard Pirates, and that would make the Long Ring Longland arc make so much sense as foreshadowing for what's going on there. So I do guess that's, yeah, like I think we're definitely getting Hachinosu, definitely getting Elbaf, definitely getting a Vegapunk Island arc. Don't know about the moon. The moon's a maybe. Again, we could wrap up the stuff with Enel. Again, we need to see what's going on. The only two supernovas we haven't got deeply into their stories with are Arouge and Bonnie. Bonnie is going to be important at some point eventually, and a place where Arouge, we could finally get into his character, is getting back into the Enel stuff and getting into maybe whatever God Valley was, whatever Enel's homeland was or what really happened to it, getting into the moon stuff with Enel. So again, I kind of feel like we could get a moon arc before Raftel, but I'm not sure on that one. And again, Lodestar, maybe, maybe not. I would argue that we should just get a couple chapters there, like we did in Logetown or like we did in Jaya. Just a couple chapters would be fine for Lodestar. But wow, that was a lot. So the next topic I wanted to bring up, a lot of people talk all the time about how much Carrot was sidelined in Wano, and my argument has always been, in mainland Wano, Carrot really wasn't sidelined that much compared to other Straw Hats too, because people are like, Carrot could never be important to the story after how much she was sidelined in mainland Wano, and it's like, I don't know. If you're saying that about Carrot, you gotta say it about like a bunch of the other Straw Hats too, because they had even less prominent roles. But I went through, I've been watching a ton of like videos and looking at a ton of data that people have done where they've broken down like chapter appearance screen time, panel appearance screen time, and going through and just taking the chapter appearance screen time from mainland Wano. This is just acts 1 and 2 before the Onigashima raid. Luffy had 35 appearances. Behind that was Zoro with 29, and behind that was Sanji with 22. I've always said Luffy and Zoro were really the only ones with significant screen time in mainland Wano, and Sanji a teeny bit toward the end with the page 1 stuff. Robin also had 19 appearances, which is pretty good, but other than that, Chopper had 18 appearances, and I'm like, what did Chopper do in mainland Wano? I can't think of a single thing Chopper did. Beyond that, Nami had 17 appearances. She at least did some of the Kunoichi stuff. Frankie had 16 appearances. I forgive, Frankie was, again, basically off-screen for all of Wano, but I can really forgive that because Frankie was doing something important. He was repairing the ships. So again, I can kind of forgive him being off-screen almost the whole time. Usopp and Brook had 15 apiece. Usopp really, for a guy that, again, didn't really have a big role in Zoe, and then was gone for all of Whole Cake, Usopp really didn't do anything whatsoever in mainland Wano, and now here in the Onigashima raid, Usopp really hasn't done much of anything. Usopp really hasn't done much of anything all the way since Dressrosa. That was a long-ass time ago. Brook at least had some of the interactions with, like, Zoro and Hiyori and stuff, so Brook did a little bit there. And Carrot had 14 appearances, so only 1 less appearance than Brook and Usopp, 2 less appearances than Frankie, 3 than Nami, so again, barely less than the main Straw Hats, and I would argue that Carrot actually gave more to the arc than, like, Chopper or Usopp, or, I mean, Brook is questionable. But, and I think Frankie, even though he had less screen time than Carrot, I feel like in my heart, even though he had 2 more chapter appearances, he was doing important stuff fixing the ships. But for For Carrot, we saw from her perspective and heard her internal thoughts multiple times when it came to the scabbards and seeing what was going on with them and getting some flashbacks of what happened with them through Carrot being kind of the narrator to us as the audience. So again, we saw from her perspective a good few times, which is, again, more than I can say about Chopper or Usopp, who I really don't remember. Like, even skimming back through and checking all the screen time data, I'm just like, how did Chopper have 18 chapter appearances? I really don't remember Chopper doing anything in mainland Wano. But yeah, this isn't to disparage the other Straw Hats. It's just to say that for people arguing Carrot really got off-screened in mainland Wano, my argument's always been, yes, so did most of the Straw Hats. And it's kind of a shame. We spent a lot of time with the Scabbards and a good amount of time with Luffy and Zoro, which was really nice. But yeah, my argument's always been that, like, most of the Straw Hats were sidelined more than I would have liked. But yeah, just wanted to talk about some data there. The fourth point I wanted to bring up, because a lot of people have been saying, oh, the Beast Pirates are super terribly disappointing. And my opinions on that are that I think most of the fights have been pretty solid, I guess. But yeah, the Beast Pirates have been pretty disappointing, haven't they? I just don't feel like, to me, there's a massive sense of difficulty or danger here, where just last arc in Whole Cake, there was always this sense of, we had characters dying and characters like Pound getting fake out deaths. We had these really, really strong characters chasing us down. They could kill or capture the Straw Hats. There were multiple times where the ship or the crew's lives were in serious, serious danger. But not really the case here with the Onigashima raid. This has kind of been easy mode. It's kind of like, wow, did we really need that much build up in Wano instead of just kind of charging in here and showing them who's boss? I mean, most of the Straw Hats have won their fights pretty, like, slightly more difficult than Hody Jones and his little new Fishman pirate goons. But other than the new Fishman pirates, I can't think of any other, like, crew versus crew fights that have been this easy. This feels like the second easiest to be going up against, like, the strongest Yonko and his crew and all. This really hasn't felt all that difficult for the main characters, which I think is a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is. So yeah, getting those 4 topics out of the way, gonna talk about and review quickly chapters 1020 through 1026. Now I'm not going to go through and say every little thing that happened, just mostly a couple topics from each that I think are pretty important. So 1020 is actually when we get the Yamato Devil Fruit reveal. I didn't remember it being that recently, but we get the reveal that it's the Oguchi no Makami. So because of that, you know the Makami from, like, Persona 5, I really want Long Dog Yamato. I think Long Dog Yamato would be hilarious. It's super great. Yamato being toward Kaido like, oh, I can't be Odin if I don't protect Wano, and if I don't do this and that, feels a little weird and inconsistent. When we saw in some of Yamato's flashbacks, like with Ace, Yamato was like, I'm just trapped here, I just want to leave here, I don't care what happens to here. But now Yamato's like, I do care what happens to here, I can't be Odin if I don't protect Wano. And I don't know, it doesn't seem super, super tight and consistent. But most of this and most of the next chapter is focused on Robin and Black Maria's fight, which I think is really good in the story it tells. And one of the reasons I wanted to do these reviews is to talk about how many people shit on Sanji for what he did when really it was so good story-wise. Because Black Maria kept saying to Sanji as she beat him up, she kept saying, you're like, Robin's only good for her ability to read poneglyphs, she's weak, your crew has to protect her. And what Sanji did here, he showed the same things, the same qualities that Luffy loved about him in Whole Cake, Sanji reaffirmed by being able to throw away his pride as a prince. Like, that was the thing with his backstory. He wasn't prideful enough as a royal. He's willing to throw away his pride and embarrass himself in front of this island full of people to let Robin handle her own fight, to prove Black Maria wrong, and that's what this whole fight was about. It was about Robin proving Black Maria wrong, that she wasn't just there to read poneglyphs, that her crew isn't required to protect her, that she can handle her own fights. They don't have to fight her battles for her. So again, that was really, really good. It was all about how she doesn't need to be protected. And again, like, after the fight with Robin starts, and back when Sanji was there, Black Maria was, again, just reaffirming the same thing, saying, oh, you need your crew to protect you. So again, it's great that she didn't. So transitioning into 1021, I like Black Maria's attack names. They were really, really fun. The fight was generally good. Like I said, I liked these fights. I just think that unless the Straw Hats are still up because they're going to get involved in the Kaido fight and it's going to turn into a crew versus Kaido fight, I don't really get why it was so easy for them. Again, it felt like the way the fights went in Fishman Island, where Straw Hats show up, they bust out a new move that we haven't seen, and they win. And that's kind of how most of this went. Like, most of these fights were, or at least Robin's fight especially, show up, bust out a new move we haven't seen, win. So, I don't know. I don't know about the difficulty, but I liked the fight. She collapses from overusing her abilities. Who knows how long that'll last? CP0 was watching, so I'm assuming that Brook will maybe get a fight with CP0 later, since Brook also hasn't had a fight yet, really. And Caribou revives Luffy, and Momo asks Shinobu to help him grow older at the end. So getting into 1022, 15 minutes left until Onigashima reaches the Flower Capital, I think. We get Hawkins being really, really cool, and same with Killer. I really want a little bit more screen time for this. It would be nice. Marco is reaching his limit. We know that Marco mentioned before, earlier in the arc, that his power is a lot better for healing himself than healing other people, and eventually he runs out of stamina, so this makes sense for him. Nekomamushi throws Pedo outside. We get a hint at the Lunarians and the Redline stuff from Marco, and Zoro is back up at the end. So getting into 1023, which was just an excellent chapter. I think 1023 through 1025, even 1022, that like 3 or 4 chapters where we didn't get a break were so good. Like, all the chapters were great. So yeah, Izo takes Marco, gets him out of there for now. Sanji and Zoro get the fight against King and Queen. We get a bunch of lore drops there with the Lunarians and the Red Line, and the Ushimaru and Ryuma stuff. King's Swordbreaker Katana is really, really awesome. I really like that. Inuarashi, just like what Nekomamushi did to Pedo, throws Jack out into the courtyard where Ashura had blown a hole in the roof earlier, and Nekomamushi gives Pedro the credit for the raid. Nekomamushi is like, without Pedro's sacrifice, the Straw Hats would have been dead. The Straw Hats wouldn't have been able to gather the samurais and the prisoners, or samurais, wow, samurai or the prisoners, and the raid wouldn't have been able to happen if not for Pedro's sacrifice, allowing the Straw Hats to survive. And then at the end, we get our hints, or our reveal, for adult Momo in his dragon form. Into 1024. Okay, here's where I have another image. So there's this panel that I couldn't figure out in my reaction, and still right now I don't know. I was like, did Nami and Usopp and Tama take ulti with them? But I don't think they did, because I don't know. Let me show you this panel. Again, not for long, because you know how things go with One Piece, but okay, I'm gonna blow this up really nice and big. So we get to see here, Speed, who are these human legs on her back? Those do not like match up with Nami for them to be Nami's legs. We see Speed's horse half, so it's not Speed's legs. It looks like they're wearing a skirt. It's not Tama, obviously. Whose legs are those on Speed's back? Okay, taking that away so I don't get my entire channel nuked. But yeah, what was up with that? I could not figure that one out. Whose legs are those? Still to this day, I can't figure that one out. But all that aside, what else did we have? We got some updates. Frankie is with Shachi Penguin, and Beppo and Jinbei is with Kids Crew. We finally get flashback time, and honestly to me, Yamato's flashback was a bit more cute and funny than it was sad. Things just kind of like, I mean, I guess it's kind of sad that Kaido treated Yamato badly, but we've seen characters in their flashbacks generally be treated much, much worse than that. And by throwing Yamato in the cave, Yamato made a lot of really good friends that were really good to Yamato. So, you know, it really wasn't all that sad of a flashback at all. But I think we're going to get more sadness when we figure out why Kaido is the way he is. Like, what happened to Yamato's mother? Or who was Yamato's mother? Or how did Kaido get to be the way he is? I think when we get into that, that's going to be a lot sadder. The stuff that's like pre-Yamato that even Yamato might not know about. But Luffy and Momo return to the roof in 1025, and that's basically the whole chapter, is just them returning to the roof. I love the detours they took through the castle, but there really wasn't much to it other than that. And in the most recent chapter, 1026, I'm not sure how I feel about Momo biting Kaido. I mean, I guess dragon effective against dragon, but still, Momo shouldn't know any sorts of Haki. Just because he's older physically doesn't mean he should be that much stronger. I don't know. Don't know how I feel about that. I think dodging is fine though, because I mean, he's a dragon. He can kind of just move in the air any sort of way he wants, it seems. Then we get Carrot just being relegated to this little teeny laying on the ground panel, and I am like, what did Oda do to Carrot? Like even pre-Carrot getting off-screened by Perospero, she was playing a pretty prominent role in the raid. We actually saw her and Nami a lot in the early chapters of the raid. Before that, again, she wasn't that sidelined in Wano. We got to see a bit from her perspective, not as much as some of the Straw Hats, in my opinion, that should have got some more respect. And of course, before that, she was really, really integral in Whole Cake, again, doing much, much more than Chopper there in Whole Cake. Yeah, it's just so strange how she just, from the moment that she was off-screened by Perospero, just shoved to the background so abruptly. It's so strange. So another issue I kind of have, page 11, there's this shot where Luffy's telling Momonosuke, what do you have to be afraid of? You just bit a Yonko. And we have Momo's reaction. And I feel like Yamato's reaction there, I was like, why have Yamato react here like Momo's reacting? To me, it felt a little out of place. It felt like it was, I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me. I was like, why is that reaction there? Maybe it's going to be something where it's supposed to be raising Yamato's respect for Luffy, but again, this was more about, Momonosuke's been on this character arc for like hundreds of chapters now, and again, Yamato just feels like a thrown-in addition that doesn't make as much sense here. So Luffy tells Momo to go stop Onigashima. We've been knowing that's been coming pretty much. Like, I feel like everybody's been on the boat of, oh yeah, Momonosuke is going to be like the Dressrosa citizens pushing against the birdcage. He's going to be trying to stop Onigashima from crushing the flower capital. So we get confirmation, Luffy telling Momo to go do that. And then honestly, Perospero and Jack get taken down, and we get the hints at Orochi being around, which again, a lot of people were assuming. I want to say Perospero is the GOAT of Big Mom's crew. Like, he is one of the characters with the most feats we have seen in the series. Yeah, this man pretty much no-diffed Chopper and Brook back in Whole Cake. Just took them out like it was a joke. He survived against Carrot and Wanda, two Minks and Sulong, who, again, we saw Carrot, like, taking down a fleet when she was in Sulong before. So again, he was able to survive against them. Again, the moon got hidden behind the clouds, and that's why he said he was able to do it. But you know what? I'm going to count it still. he was the only member of the Big Mom Pirates to make it up the waterfall without being concussed and losing their memories, so even better than Big Mom there. And when Big Mom was in big dumbass mode back in Whole Cake, where she wasn't able to do anything but hurt her own people, he was able to direct her toward the enemies and again kind of carry the team then. And even when Pedro blew himself up, Perospero was like point blank with that, and he still survived. So I'm going to give Perospero the respect he deserves. He has feats that not most characters in One Piece have been shown to achieve here. So a big goat went down this week. But yeah, either way, that is it for my review of those chapters, for the topics I wanted to talk about. I tried to keep it short. You'll know that I often talk really quickly through these kinds of things. I wish I had like a co-host and like me and one or two other people could talk about this kind of thing. That would probably make things different. But when it's just me, I'm like, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I want to just run through my ideas as quickly as I can. But yeah, either way, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, just ask and I'll give you a link. And if you want to help support the channel on Patreon, it is patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. But either way, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, just comment on there to talk to me about any topic you want in One Piece. I love talking with you all. Or if you want to talk on Discord or on Twitter, again, I love talking to you all. But either way, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.